please, y'all, do not make Vernon sick. It's been enough with Anita. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining me on another session of The Deep Dive with Toya Creates. It is Friday, April 17th. Thank God it's Friday. And we are breaking down Beyond the Gates. So let's get into it. And today I put my notes in the computer. Okay, so we saw Nicole and Vanessa actually reconcile today. I didn't know how things were going to go yesterday because Nicole was like, well, I guess we're at an impasse regarding Joey and all of the things. So I was happy to see that, Nicole was like, of course, our friendship is not going to be over some guy. And Vanessa was so relieved. She hugged her and she was like, thank God, because I don't know what I would do if you weren't in my life. And we got to see a little throwback, some reminiscing. So we see how Vanessa and Nicole met for the first time up in the club. Vanessa was looking for some cigarettes. Oh, she didn't beat the habit, but okay. She was looking for some cigarettes, and Nicole just happened to be walking through, and Vanessa asked her if she had any, and they just started bonding and talking right then and there, which is cool. I mean, clearly they knew of each other prior to meeting officially, I guess, but they just really hit it off and they've been friends ever since. So I was glad to see that this friendship is still going to continue and that Vanessa is not going to let a man destroy it. So the other things they were talking about, Nicole was able to open up more about all of the stress that she's been under with Anita's situation, and Vanessa apologizes for the bad blood, basically, since, Nicole couldn't or didn't feel comfortable going to her talking about it. And Nicole also expressed that she was sorry for judging her friend and her choices in men, and that she's not going to do that anymore, and that she's going to try to be supportive, and that, her main issue is that she is just afraid for Vanessa due to the line of work that Joey is in, and she doesn't want Vanessa being caught up in some shenanigans. Vanessa is just, girl, you can tell when someone is not used to, what do you call it? Underworld life, underboss life, mob life. Because Vanessa's like, nothing's gonna happen, girl. Something can happen any moment. That man is in the game for real, but whatever. So, and Nicole just asks Vanessa to please promise her that if she feels like she's in any type of danger, to come to Nicole, go to Danny, go to anyone that you trust, but please just go to somebody. So that was nice to see. So then we saw Danny happening to be at the club because she's supposed to be meeting up with Pamela to discuss modeling agency and all of that stuff. And her new thing with, what's the woman's name? Tatum. Because Danny is supposed to be relaunching her modeling career with some designer named Tatum who linked her up, who Andre linked to Pamela and Danny. Sorry, I'm tired, y'all. Okay, so Danny's there to meet with Pamela, but Bill is there by himself, and he invites Danny to join him. So they're just, catching up, these two. Oh. They're just catching up and talking about the baby situation, Babygate. So Danny is like, how did Haley react to you calling me baby? And Bill was like, man, what? Haley didn't say anything to me. And it was just because that slipped out of my mouth because I was so happy to hear that Anita was doing well. And I just reverted back to old habits. No harm, no foul. But Bill does say, but your man, Andre, did he tell you that he did talk to me about the baby of it all? And Bill was like, Andre is insecure. Danny says, no, he's not. And they continue on with this lunch. They also talk about how Bill wants Naomi to run the firm once his time has come and gone. And Danny's like, oh, that gives me an idea. And so she pitches an idea to Pamela, who is still not there because she's held up trying to sign some other client or something like that. So Danny just pitches this to Pamela really quickly, and that she thinks when she's doing the walk for Tatum or doing her modeling gig, that she would like to see if Tatum would be interested in including some Chelsea cat merchandise. Pam does not think that's a good idea because she doesn't feel like Danny should split the focus of her big comeback with Chelsea Cat. No shade, but she's just like, this is your moment. And Bill agrees. He's like, I know you won't believe this, but I agree with Pamela because apparently Pamela never liked Bill. So he was making jokes about that all night. But Bill was like, no, you don't need to do that. You should just focus on you. And if anybody can make a huge comeback, it's you and all the things. He was just laying it on real thick. And Danny was like, ooh, you're being sweet to me, sweet for me. You're being nice. I could get used to this type of Bill. Let me tell you what I know. I am willing to bet that these two are back together, I would say, before the end of summer. I feel comfortable with that. Because they have so much chemistry. You could tell that they both still love each other. And you know what? I like a little bit of toxicity in my romances. So I can relate to this. Like, Danny will forever be his wife and Bill will forever be her husband. I love Andre. I love the way he treats Danny and loves on her, but it's not going to last, unfortunately. So, maybe he could go back to Ashley because I don't think that's going to last either. But anyway, so moving on. We also see Vernon surprising Anita with these cute little balloons. And he's like, pop them so you can see what's inside. Because Anita's getting ready for her second to last chemo treatment. And Vernon wanted to give her a cute little surprise. So she pops the balloon and some gold confetti comes out. Only gold, not purple, not, what's the other color? I forget at the moment, but I say this for a reason. Because Vernon said that the inside of the balloons represented that since they were unable to celebrate Mardi Gras this year, he's going to take Anita to New Orleans in the fall. So they could still just experience the city at least. And so she was like, yeah, that would be cool as long as everything is fine with her upcoming, sessions and lumpectomy. So they head on over to the hospital, and like I said, Nicole and Vanessa were already there, which was cool. And Anita's getting ready for her therapy session, and Vernon's like, I will catch up. So he goes to the side because Madison is there. She works there. She's a doctor. And Vernon is like, I need to talk to you. First, he's always a gentleman. He's just like, I'm so sorry about the malpractice suit that you are now facing. And honestly, I thought that's all he was going to talk about. But then Vernon asks Madison for an appointment because he says he's been misplacing things. He's had some memory slips. Remember, I think it was yesterday or the other day, Danny was looking at Vernon kind of sideways when he misspoke about the Sharon Tracy thing with Anita, and she was questioning if he was okay, and he played it off. But apparently these things have been happening enough where he feels a little concerned, and so he's talking to Madison about it. And Madison's just like, well, I will run tests, and she's not too concerned at this point, and she cautions him not to get overly concerned yet because you're under a lot of stress. This could be anything. And she asks him, like, are you doing your daily walks like you love? Are you eating right? Are you getting enough rest? And of course, he's not doing all of these things because he's basically neglecting himself so he could take care of Anita. And that man got it bad for Anita. One of the reasons why he's also asking for this assistance from Madison is because he's like, I need to be my absolute best for Anita. I love it. Anyways, so Madison agrees, like I said, and she's going to give him the appointment. And Vernon made sure to be like, now, just so we are clear, Madison, I'm coming to you as a patient, which means keep your mouth shut. Okay, so it has already been, with Anita's illness. I'm like, please do not make Vernon sick on top of it because please, it's too much. And I love Vernon too much to go through that. Like, hard enough with Anita. I don't want to see it for Vernon. So, let me look at my other notes. So, we also see Kat going into Orphe Jeans, and Isaiah is there. He is waiting for Eva, but she has been held up at work. And so Kat's like, oh, can I join you, Isaiah? And Isaiah said, fine, as long as you're not going to trash talk my girlfriend. Okay. So, they're just a lot of that. And then Eva walks in, and her face is like... But she plays it off because, Kat and Eva had a little truce the other day. And I'm just like, okay, we get to see the continuation of the truce. Wrong. Okay? Now, they are not their usual nasty selves in terms of how they speak to each other and deal with each other, but it was very much nasty today. You could tell Eva was not feeling the fact that Isaiah was eating with Kat. When Eva got there, she was all over Isaiah, like, oh, he's just so this and that, just like kind of doing extra just to kind of mark her territory, so to speak. But you know what? Kat over there like, I owe you one anyways. That's what I think she's doing. Because later, because this is not really relevant to the story today, she was meeting up with Chelsea at the club, and she admitted outright that she was purposely flirting with Isaiah just to get under Eva's skin. Why? And she was like, I was being nice at my party because all you guys were giving me like the judgmental looks, and it was a little bit of growth on my part, but she still don't like her. And back at Orphe Jeans, Eva was basically saying the same thing, because Isaiah was like, and Eva was like, what? And he said, you know what? And Eva was saying like, I don't know what's worse. This, where we're pretending to basically be nice, nasty, because nothing has changed, or before. So that's basically where we leave it off with, other than Isaiah reassuring Eva that there's no need for her to be jealous of Kat or anyone else because she is the only woman for him. Let's see if that continues, because I totally feel like Kat is going to try to get with Isaiah at some point, which I also will not support, just like my reasoning for The Bold and the Beautiful. Too close together. I mean, the Danny Andre of it all is a little too much already, but I've come around. But you know what? For now, I'm saying I would not support Kat and Isaiah, but who knows? I don't know. I'm more so Team Eva because I don't like Kat. I don't like Kat because she's an uppity snob. But let's just move on. So another part of the story that we saw today was Naomi and Jacob meeting up at this motel. So he comes in and she's like, he said, And she's like, what has happened? So then he opens up his shirt and you can see all of the bruising from the beat down he got yesterday. And Naomi is just terrified at this point. She starts going in depth about just how nerve-wracking all of this has been, how she is just scared. And like the only way she knows if he is okay or alive is after days of waiting for just a text. And Naomi is breaking, basically. And Jacob understands, but he's just like, this is the life that I chose, basically. And he's like, please don't ask me to stop because I'm not going to. Please don't ask me about information for this case or whatever because I'm not going to tell you. And Naomi just accepts it. Basically she's an attorney. He's a cop. They knew what it was when they got married. This is one of the reasons why why she didn't want a kid. And you know what? I agree with her. But, it's just a dangerous job. They want to help the community. That's something they have in common. And Jacob feels like he is able to do this and help so many more people by getting these criminals off the street. But Naomi, you can tell, she's like, is it worth this? And oh my God, it was just, it was a very emotional scene because, she's just trying to cope with everything. And so is he. And you could tell he really wants to be home with Naomi, but he really feels strong about this case. So they are still talking and just connecting a little bit when he gets a text message. I don't know from who, I'm assuming Red, because it was like, we need to meet up ASAP. And so Jacob says he has to go. And I think like Naomi's going to be like, no, you cannot leave. But she holds herself together and she helps him put on his little clothes, his little jacket, because he can barely move after the beat down. And they kiss and he walks out. And then Naomi just goes to the bed and Now, I feel like, and I hope I am wrong about this, but I feel like they might off Jacob for real. Because, sorry, I'm always busy. I don't know. I just feel like they might get rid of Jacob. But I hope not. So let's see. Because this case is ramping up. Sorry about that. So many interruptions. But yeah, I feel like they might do something to Jacob, and I don't know why, but I just have that feeling. And then let's see what else. Those were the main things. The only other thing that they talked about was how Chelsea Cat is doing great. It's flying out of Finmore stores and the website. Chelsea and Cat are still talking about this malpractice case, and Madison is super worried about all of it. I feel like Madison feels like, oh my, like guilty. Like I'm bringing all of this to Chelsea's family and Chelsea's life, and she's worried how the malpractice suit will impact Chelsea's company, impact the way. Madison is just a mess at this point. Now, I hope we get to see Madison's mom very soon because I am curious to see this woman who is causing all of this hullabaloo. So hopefully we see her soon. Maybe she'll show up for the trial. Who knows? Yeah. That was basically it for today. Another solid episode, jam-packed per usual. I am ready for next week based on the quick little preview I saw. I'll talk about that on Sunday. But yeah. Oh, and congrats to Beyond the Gates for being renewed for seasons 3 and 4, as if I had any doubt. But yeah, that's basically it on what happened today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the storylines. Let me know what is your favorite. And do you think something's going to happen to Jacob? I hope not. Like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.